The USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group maintains standard patrol formation, the carrier's wake-cutting, glass-smooth water under a cloudless pre-dawn sky. Then the Tactical Action Officer's console erupts with threat indicators. 200. Inbound contacts. The AN Spy 1D radar array aboard the USS Lake Champlain, an accompanying Ticonderoga-class cruiser, paints the full picture in 8 seconds. The contacts separate into distinct categories: 73 fixed-wing aircraft, 89 unmanned aerial vehicles, 38 anti-ship cruise missiles already in flight. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has launched the largest coordinated strike against a United States carrier group since World War II. Range 340 nautical miles and closing at combined speeds exceeding 600 knots. Time to engagement envelope, 22 minutes. The scale is unprecedented. Every Iranian airbase from Bandar Abbas to Chabahar has simultaneously launched strike packages. Sukhoi Su-24 fencers carry Kh-31 anti-ship missiles. Aging F-4 Phantoms serve as decoys and missile trucks. Kamikaze drones form swarm clusters designed to saturate defensive systems. The cruise missiles, Chinese C-802 variants, skim 15 feet above wave tops, approaching from multiple vectors. The stakes crystallize instantly. If even 3% of this barrage penetrates the carrier's defensive umbrella, Abraham Lincoln could suffer catastrophic damage. Thousands of personnel are at immediate risk. Command authority escalates to CENTCOM within 90 seconds. At 05:49 hours, the counteroffensive begins 290 nautical miles from the carrier. 4 FA-18E Super Hornets from VFA-31, already airborne on combat air patrol, receive targeting data via Link 16 and Pivot Northeast. Their APG-79 AESA radars achieve lock on the leading edge of the Iranian fighter formation. 8 AIM-120D AMRAAM missiles launch in ripple fire. Flight time, 47 seconds. The first 4 Iranian Su-24s disintegrate before their pilots register the threat. Debris rains into the Gulf of Oman. At 05:51 hours, 6 additional Super Hornets launch from Abraham Lincoln's catapults, their engines screaming to full military power in 2.3 seconds. Simultaneously, 2 E-2D Advanced Hawkeyes coordinate the expanding battle space, their rotodomes feeding real-time targeting to 14 platforms across the strike group. The air war becomes layered. Super Hornets engage manned aircraft at extended range, while EA-18G Growlers pump electromagnetic interference into Iranian command frequencies, collapsing coordination between strike packages. At 05:54 hours, the engagement range collapses to 180 nautical miles. USS Lake Champlain and USS Port Royal, both Aegis-equipped cruisers positioned on the strike group's northern flank, commence SM-2 standard missile launches. Vertical launch cells open in synchronized sequences, 48 missiles in 11 seconds. The missiles arc upward, their rocket motors etching white contrails against the darkness, then tip over toward incoming cruise missiles. Intercept geometry is ruthlessly efficient. Each SM-2 homes on radar return with terminal accuracy measured in meters. The first wave of C-802 cruise missiles dies 140 nautical miles from Abraham Lincoln. 31 missiles destroyed. 7 remain. At 05:57 hours, Iranian F-4 Phantoms attempt a supersonic dash toward firing positions. They do not succeed. 6 FA-18s bracket the formation from above and below, executing a textbook pincer. 12 AIM-120 missiles and 8 AIM-9X sidewinders saturate the engagement zone. The Phantoms, laden with ordnance and lacking modern countermeasures, stand no chance. 11 aircraft explode within 90 seconds. 2 Iranian pilots eject. The rest do not. At 06 hours, the drone swarm enters the intermediate defensive layer at 85 nautical miles. This is the threat Pentagon planners have war-gamed for 3 years. 89 expendable UAVs, each carrying 40 kilograms of explosive, programmed to overwhelm point defense systems through sheer numerical advantage. The Abraham Lincoln Strike Group responds with layered lethality. SM-6 missiles, capable of engaging both ballistic and aerodynamic targets, launch from 3 destroyers. These are not precision intercepts. Each SM-6 detonates in proximity fuse mode, creating fragmentation clouds that shred multiple drones simultaneously. The sky becomes a debris field. 54 drones destroyed in 4 minutes. At 06:03 hours, the remaining 35 drones penetrate to 40 nautical miles. MH-60R Seahawk helicopters operating in hunter-killer pairs engage with GAU-21 50 caliber machine guns and AGM-114 Hellfire missiles. The helicopter crews work with brutal efficiency, their targeting pods designating individual drones for precision strikes. 18 more drones fall. The survivors press inward. At 06:05 hours, the inner defense perimeter activates. Every destroyer and cruiser in the strike group, 7 surface combatants, unleashes rolling airframe missiles and evolved Sea Sparrow missiles. These are short-range interceptors designed for exactly this scenario: terminal defense against sea-skimming threats. The missiles launch at 3-second intervals, their infrared seekers locking onto drone engine heat. Impact after impact, the ocean surface erupts with falling wreckage. 12 drones destroyed, 5 break through. At 06:06 hours, the final layer engages. Phalanx close-in weapon systems on Abraham Lincoln, Lake Champlain, and 2 destroyers swivel toward inbound threats. The 6-barreled 20mm Gatling guns achieve a combined rate of fire exceeding 18,000 rounds per minute. The sound is apocalyptic, a continuous metallic roar. Tungsten penetrator rounds create visible curtains of fire. 4 drones disintegrate 1,200 meters from Abraham Lincoln's hull. The 5th drone, damaged but functional, angles toward the carrier's port quarter. A single RIM 116 rolling airframe missile launches from Abraham Lincoln's starboard launcher. Flight time: 3.7 seconds. The missile strikes the drone 400 meters from the ship. The explosion is close enough that personnel on the flight deck feel the pressure wave. Shrapnel peppers the ocean. No fragments reach the carrier. The final threat dies 17 minutes and 14 seconds after initial detection. Silence. Tactical frequencies crackle with damage assessments and ammunition counts. Abraham Lincoln suffers 0 damage, 0 casualties. The strike group has expended 187 missiles and $31,000 rounds of ammunition. Iranian losses: 73 aircraft destroyed, 89 drones obliterated, 38 cruise missiles intercepted. Approximately 140 Iranian aircrew are dead or missing. 2 prisoners are recovered by SAR helicopters within 30 minutes. The Arabian Sea is littered with debris across 400 square nautical miles. Rescue operations for American forces are unnecessary. There is no one to rescue. The tactical lessons crystallize before the last pieces of wreckage sink. The Iranian strategy was numerically impressive, but doctrinally flawed. Coordinated mass launches mean nothing against integrated air defense networks that share targeting data at light speed. The IRGC committed its most capable platforms without electronic warfare support, without suppression of enemy air defenses, without any realistic assessment of American sensor range. Iranian commanders sacrificed 73 aircraft to achieve exactly 0 hits. This was not a battle. It was a demonstration of the chasm between regional power projection and superpower dominance. Strategic ramifications cascade within hours. Tehran remains publicly silent for 11 hours before issuing a statement claiming defensive action against American aggression, a narrative contradicted by satellite footage and international maritime law. Regional allies take immediate notice. Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates quietly expand intelligence-sharing agreements with U.S. Central Command. Israel's defense establishment circulates internal assessments, concluding that Iranian conventional military capability poses negligible threat to peer adversaries. The attempted strike, intended to demonstrate strength and deter American presence in the Gulf, achieves the opposite. It reveals comprehensive operational inadequacy. The engagement fundamentally reshapes deterrence calculations across the Middle East. For 3 decades, Iran has leveraged asymmetric threats, mines, fast boats, proxy forces, to complicate American naval operations. The Abraham Lincoln engagement proves that when Iran attempts symmetrical confrontation, the result is annihilation. Pentagon analysts note that Tehran expended roughly 18% of its operational combat aircraft inventory in 17 minutes while inflicting zero damage. Reconstitution will require years and resources Iran does not possess under sanctions. The Gulf balance of power, already favorable to American interests, becomes insurmountable. Doctrinal implications extend beyond the immediate theater. The successful integration of Aegis cruisers, Super Hornet strike fighters, electronic warfare platforms, helicopters, and close-in weapon systems validates decades of investment in networked warfare. No single platform won this engagement. The system won. Data fusion, shared situational awareness, and layered defense converted numerical inferiority into absolute dominance. 12 American ships and 18 aircraft defeated a strike package 5 times larger without sustaining damage. That ratio defines modern naval warfare. International reaction is muted but significant. Russia and China issue perfunctory statements calling for de-escalation while privately reassessing their own anti-access area denial strategies. If 200 aircraft and missiles cannot threaten a single carrier group, the implications for Taiwan Strait or Black Sea contingencies are sobering. European allies express public support for freedom of navigation while quietly noting that American conventional superiority remains unmatched. The global order, challenged by revisionist powers for a decade, confronts empirical evidence of continued American military primacy. The strait remains open not through negotiation or diplomatic concession, but through demonstrated capability. At 06:08 hours on an otherwise unremarkable morning, the USS Abraham Lincoln resumes standard patrol operations. The carrier's flight deck launches routine sorties. Radar screens return to normal search patterns. The message, however, has been delivered with absolute clarity. 200 aircraft achieved nothing, and nothing has changed. The Abraham Lincoln Strike Group owns the battle space, and that ownership is non-negotiable. 17 minutes proved sufficient to settle questions that diplomacy had left unresolved for years. The Gulf is an American lake, and the cost of challenging that reality has now been calculated in wreckage and lives.